This week on HMP, we close out our Nicholas Hoult month with a look at food and art. Art, that's not something you hear a lot in a lot of John Leguizamo films, if we're honest. Now, welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Half-Ass Movie Podcast, a show where we put together a half-ass theme as an excuse to watch movies. My name is Adam Portress, and joining me today, he exclusively eats foam. Sweet Sean's a Kovacs from the internet.
All foam diet. That's me.
And just like tuna tartare, Bruce Leslie is off the menu this week, unfortunately. Bruce is out this week, but that is A-okay. We have yet another Nicholas Hoult movie here for you. It's been a good one. It's been a good month with Nicholas Hoult here. I think this guy's going somewhere. I don't think we've seen the last of Nicholas Hoult.
He's just got such a wide range, man. He can kind of, for somebody so young, he can kind of play it all. Mm-hmm. He doesn't look like this man, but I think that he has the same tools that the person I'm about to name check has. He's sort of like John Turturro that way. Like, okay. John Turturro can play anything, and it's great.
Yeah, it is true. He is one of those guys who's like, you don't think about it at first, but Turturro's far more wild across the board than I think a lot of people would give him credit for. Ooh, there's a good month for us, John Turturro.
It would be great. He's been in a lot of movies where I'm like, you know what? Is that one of my favorite movies?
A lot of bangers.
Yeah. Also, I will say this about your Leguizamo comment. It's not his fault that Hollywood in the 90s and early 2000s was like, we need somebody who can play the most annoying character anyone's ever seen.
I mean, he was in a movie called The Pest, for Christ's sakes.
Exactly. Well, that's his own. Like, that is his fault. But like, there are a lot of roles that guy took that was because the man needs to work. But like, my God, man, there's so many movies where it's like, we need you to play the most annoying human being that's ever been. And he's like, got it.
He just goes, let me stop you right there.
I think he has, like, I think that if you can give him something just from his role in the menu here, if you can give him something where like it's a little more than what we're used to seeing from him, I think he can come to the table. Because also, like, he's stealing scenes away from Patrick Swayze and Wesley Snipes in that movie that isn't Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, whatever that movie's called.
White Man Can't Jump.
It's not that. You know what I mean. You even know the movie I'm talking about.
Draw it a blank. It's like Jeopardy. It's my Jeopardy moment.
To Wong Fu.
To Wong Fu. Thanks for everything, Julie Newmar. There we go.
Yes.
It's he's an interesting character, John Leguizamo, and like there are moments where I'm just like big fan, other moments where I'm like, I hate your guts.
God, man, it is both things with that guy. It just is, and I realize I'm being very charitable to the man at this moment because a lot of the problems that people have with him are self-induced by him.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, listen. My favorite bits about John Leguizamo, we're covering Nicholas Hoult this week, but my favorite part about John Leguizamo is, and I think it comes from a real place where he wants, more people of different ethnic backgrounds and stuff to get jobs and be able to, flourish in Hollywood. I do believe that comes from a very sincere place. That said, he takes all the roles.
Yes.
It's like, you are in a lot of roles you probably shouldn't be that could go to another actor that would help, propel their careers on a lot more than you've been in this career for 40 years.
It also doesn't help that he's aging very well.
Yeah, that doesn't help his case.
But I mean other actors because we'll just get we'll get John Leguizamo. Well, we can just get John Leguizamo, so let's get him. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's not too awful much, but, it's going to be a little bit harder to get Nicholas Hoult, I think, especially after James Gunn's Superman movie here coming out. So I think he may really kind of destroy in this. And like we said, we're seeing a lot of different performances and stuff out of Nicholas Hoult. this entire month here with everything. And I'm so happy that this movie came along, because this is yet another very kind of different performance from him. So before we get into all that, though, I want you folks to subscribe over on the YouTube page if you haven't already. Like us, give a comment for your mom and all that kind of good stuff. Here's one that I had with my in response to my popcorn video. I don't know why this one, it seemed weird, and I felt like I wanted to share for some stupid reason.
I'm a lover of the weird.
Mr. Anderson 117 said, "You are a gift from God," and I was like, that seems a little much.
That's a lot.
Seems like I'm like, I just made a popcorn video. I mean, sure, it's nearly at 1 million views at this point, but is it, I mean, I'll take the compliments where I can get them. I'm not going to lie to you, but thank you. So,
yeah, geez.
Appreciate that, man. So why don't you guys head on over there to the YouTube page. You can listen to this show, all the other fine stuff that we do. I've got my Filling in the Gaps episodes out there of Eraserhead and Moonstruck, and I'm going to have a couple more home theater things coming up in the next little few bits here and everything. So check us out over there on the YouTube page. We really appreciate that, man. If you really love the show, and I mean you really love it, why don't you head on over to patreon.com/HMP. Join up at any level, pre-show, post-show, dinner. So just ask yourself, man, if I woke up on a Monday morning and HMP wasn't there, what would I pay to get it back for that month? Is it $1? If it wouldn't even be $1, just move on. That's fine. It's okay. But if it was even $1, just head on over there, throw that in, and get yourself more content at the exact same time, including, my God, Daredevil Born Again 30 Questions. And we got some good stuff. There were 2 episodes this week, for crying out loud.
Mm-hmm. That's a lot of questions.
We got a lot of stuff going in, and we're appreciative when you guys are still writing in those questions and stuff like that. So we appreciate those Patreon supporters. Get over there, man. If you're itching for some Daredevil action, head us over to patreon.com/HMP. We really appreciate that. And drop us a 5-star review on the iTunes. It's been a long time for those. Well, we really appreciate those as well. Well, let's get into it here, Sean. Let's get into the IMDb plotline for the menu. As we all know, IMDb 100% correct in everything they say and or do. A young couple travels to a remote island to eat at an exclusive restaurant where the chef has prepared a lavish menu with some shocking surprises. Congratulations, IMDb. That's real good. That's as good as wow. That's so good, because like they don't spoil anything, they don't give anything too much away, but they do. But that is what the movie is about, and they go shocking surprises, and it's just enough to kind of tickle the funny bone there. I like it. Good job, IMDb.
The surprises in this movie are shocking.
Yeah,
they are.
This is written by Seth Reese, who did a lot of work, surprisingly, with The Onion.
Really?
Yeah, did a lot of Onion television stuff and like Onion specials and whatnot. And as well as Will Tracy, who looks like he met on some of those Onion shoots there as well. He also wrote for John Oliver's show as well.
Wow. I was just thinking this. Is there anything sadder than someone who is trying to basically ape the style of The Onion? And it's just not even close. Like there were those also rans that happened when The Onion was in its heyday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, yeah, during its heyday, and everybody was just like, "Oh God, we need to be like The Onion." And there are a couple of ones that are good that do their own twists and stuff, like The Hard Times, which is all kind of like like rock music and stuff like that, and it's all kind of funny stories. Like Rancid puts out their first ever English language album, which is just
that is funny. That is funny. I will give it to them. That is funny.
There's some good stuff out there like that. And Babylon Bee used to be kind of crap, but like they've gotten a lot better over the years. They've kind of taken they're kind of where The Onion used to be, in my opinion. They at least.
I totally disagree, man. I think The Onion I would have agreed with you until very recently. I think The Onion has been on fire lately.
I haven't seen lately. I'll be honest with you. I probably haven't seen an Onion thing in the last couple of months. So I may be, but the last bits I've seen is just like, oh, it seems like that, like headlines would have been funny like 15, 20 years ago. I'm like, this would have killed 20 years ago. Now it's like, this is so pedestrian. It's bad, but
that's what I mean. They clearly have gotten new blood in their writer's room.
Good.
Because the stuff they're coming out with again is like edgy, edgy, edgy. And I'm like, good job by you. You're actually taking risks again. Excellent.
Good. Yeah, good. Because it for the longest time, it was just like, wow, this is like a real grandma level joke here, guys. You should be ashamed of that. This is directed by Mark Malloyd, who did tons of British TV, but also branched out and eventually did some Shameless, Entourage, Game of Thrones, and most recently 16 episodes of Succession. I think old Mark here's doing all right.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
Mark's doing A-okay for himself. This movie stars Anya Taylor-Joy, Ralph Fiennes, Hung Chow, Janet McTeer, Paul Adelstein, Reed Brimley, who is not Ronnie Cox. I guess he's who you get when Ronnie Cox is all booked up. But that is Judith Light. We also got John Leguizamo and, of course, our man of the month, Nicholas Hoult, as Tyler, the ever-excited foodie.
So let me ask you an all-encompassing question here. And I know that we don't generally do this because we try to focus on the one actor with every month.
Yes.
I can't imagine. Like I did that thought experiment where, like, if you don't have Ralph Fiennes in this role, this movie is not even remotely close to being as good as it is. I couldn't think of another single actor. Like, even if you replace him with somebody like a Jeremy Irons or something who could pull it off, it's not going to be as good.
Okay. I'll offer one thing, and it won't be as good. It won't be as good, but it's going to be as close as we got, I think. And I think within this milieu, he would also work quite well. Stanley Tucci.
Tucci would be good.
He wouldn't have the kind of raw power and fierceness, and it wouldn't be as scared of him as you are with Ralph Fiennes.
There is something very scary about Ralph Fiennes, right?
Yeah,
like his camera presence, because we've seen him be awful at so many different things.
That's true too.
So he brings that with him, you know. I legitimately could not think of a single actor who would be a better fit for this. And also, you know, when I was thinking somebody like Jeremy Irons, I was like, but Jeremy Irons has that awful American accent. Like, it's terrible, his American accent. Whereas Ralph Fiennes, you don't even know he's doing one until like halfway through the movie. And you're like, oh, he's American in this.
Mark Strong could be okay, but I don't think he would be quite as good. Like, it's like
right.
It's like a maybe, but not. He wouldn't be as good or better, I don't think.
Yeah. I think Ralph Fiennes is literally the perfect casting for this. I really do. And he has so many levels to what he's bringing to the table here. I just believe that Ralph Fiennes is this chef. I really do.
Well, here's the thing. It's an interesting thing because here's Ralph Fiennes. No one's going to say he's an ugly man, but he's not like, you know, Hollywood charming, you know,
no
superstar or whatever. He's not as pretty as Nicholas Hoult. Let's put it that way. All right.
Right.
Nicholas Holt's very, very good looking dude.
He is.
You know, Ray might have been that a little bit younger, but you know, but back, I mean, but these days, not nearly as much.
Ralph Fiennes in the 90s is dirty good looking.
Yeah. His Schindler's List, like, that's a good looking dude right there. But like, also,
but dirty.
Also, dirty and super evil, of course, at that point. So you're just like, I can't find this Nazi sexy. That's no good. No,
more like Strange Days, Ralph Fiennes.
Right. That's a little better. But yeah, he is super great in this. But so basically, the idea for those that may not have seen it at this point, like the kind of IMDb thing said there, Nicholas Holt's like, hey, I'm this kind of I assume he's. At first, I thought he was like maybe like a food journalist or something like that, but he's not that. He's more of just the kind of over exuberant fan here and everything, and has got to. Spend an ungodly amount here to go on this special trip to eat at this special exclusive restaurant here and everything, and he's taken his original date canceled and everything, and he got Margot, played by Anya Taylor-Joy, to tag along with this, and of course she's not super into all the crazy foodie stuff and everything. So let's get into half of that for a second here, because I think this is part that we need to kind of get into here. Is what are our thoughts on this kind of fine cuisine and fine dining and things of that nature?
You already know my thoughts on people who classify themselves as foodies. Basically, what you're telling me is you're a pain in the ass.
They certainly can be.
I think that I have over the last few years, I have gotten to a point where I think that an expensive dinner is worth it. Like you are paying for that. You're paying for the ambiance. You're paying for the food. You're paying for the expertise, and it is totally worth it to do that. There was a time where I would have been like, "This is stupid. This is something," but experience means a lot to me these days. The more stories, the more experiences that you put down. Like there is such a thing as eating something and having it be the best thing you've ever eaten.
Oh yeah.
That doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to happen at a $2,500 a plate restaurant, but you have a much better chance of having the best whatever you're eating at a expensive restaurant than you do at some mom and pop around the corner.
Yeah, it can kind of all there's always varying degrees and stuff like that, where like those meals can either be the best thing or like this is absolutely horrible, or you go down to a Greasy Spoon and that's the best burger that you've ever had. So
right. The example I always use for this is that when I lived in Charlotte, there was a very, very expensive Italian restaurant that was on Moorhead, and I used to like going there. But if you want the best chicken parm sub you've ever had in your life, you need to go to Portofino's on Eastway, which is like, it feels like you're taking your own life into your own hands when you park in their parking lot. But it is so incredible that you've never had a better one. And so you don't go to the, $120 a plate restaurant. You go to the mom and pop that's next to the Walmart. Like that, and just that juxtaposition. When I hear foodie, I immediately think, well, I could never eat at that mom and pop restaurant. No, I'm sure you couldn't, because you are a gigantic pain in the ass when it comes to eating, I'm sure.
Yeah, and we'll get into some of that within the movie itself, because there's a lot of
Well, there's a lot of class warfare here too, like a ton of it. Yeah. It's like watching Caddyshack, quite honestly.
Put it on the poster, everybody. The menu, an awful lot like Caddyshack.
It is, because it kind of sneaks its way in there like Caddyshack did. Mm-hmm. I mean, yes, sure, the main character of your movie, not like they do in Caddyshack, isn't literally driving his POS over the railroad tracks to get to work like you see in Caddyshack. But it does sneak its way in there where you're like, oh, of course this is about class warfare. Of course it is.
Hey, which one of you bozos wants frogora? let's just put that in this movie. Make it happen.
It's one of those movies where this is also one of those movies where if you have a hard time, like I generally do, I don't with this movie for some reason, but I have a hard time watching a television show or a movie where every single person in the movie is horrible.
Yeah, that is definitely one thing about. Now, had you seen this before?
I have. I'd seen it. I'd seen it when it first came to whatever you want to call it now, video on demand, whatever you want to call it.
Because I like one of my. I was working at the theater at the time when this came out and everything, and I remember seeing the poster, and you see all the people that are in this, and you're like, oh, this should be pretty good, right? But for whatever reason, I just hadn't quite gotten around to it. And like, I'd heard a lot of people talking about, a lot of this, like, whoa, this movie, whoa.
Yeah.
And then I saw it and I was like, well, what the hell were you people watching? And part of me goes like, yeah, I watch a lot of crazy stuff and some things that are like, so my woes are a lot different than other people's woes. But
agreed. Yes.
So I was watching, I'm like, this was just fine. I will say this second time through, I did enjoy it a whole lot more.
Not only that, but this is basically a movie for old people, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, it's set up that way. This is for your elderly folk to go and enjoy a picture show. That's what this movie is.
And feel like they're being super naughty with this R-rated one, because it's like it's PG-13 plus,
Yes. So when the kills are happening, an older person is like, "Oh my," you know. And so, like, I always think of it like this: my friend's parents saw Pulp Fiction, and not only didn't like it, couldn't even understand it.
I could see that.
And so this would be their style of movie, where they're like, "Oh boy, that thing, ooh, it's got some teeth on it," you know, that kind of moviegoer, which is totally fine. You know, not all movies are made for everybody. It just so happens that this movie is so expertly made that, like, I'm enjoying the visuals, the acting performance, the writing. There's so many good moments here that even if you don't think you would like this kind of movie, you should give it 20 minutes and tell me that you don't like it. That's fine. But it's basically a murder mystery, but you already know who's doing the murdering. You know what I mean? It's good. It's great that way.
What did you think about if I was to have one complaint with the movie, and it's not the worst of complaints, mind you, but it's a slight nit that I want to pick with it, and like I hadn't noticed it because I didn't really know who the guys were that were responsible for this previously, but upon reflection and everything, the cinematography feels like the thing that kind of bugs me the most. It looks just a little too much like TV. It's like there's a little cinematic twinge that's just kind of missing. I'd be rough to tell you exactly what I mean by it, but there's a little je ne sais quoi that's not there.
I know exactly what you mean because it feels smaller than it should, is what you're talking about. And what I'm trying to figure out, because this is the second time I've seen it, so I don't know if it's because it wants you to feel claustrophobic, but I don't think that's it. Because they're outside a lot in this movie, a lot more than you would think.
No, yeah, like upon an initial thought and everything back, you would think like, oh, we spend most of the time inside, and we do spend, but we do spend a lot more outside than you would suspect, you know?
Yeah, I would say you're 60% inside the restaurant and 40% outside, which is a lot higher degree if you've seen this movie once before.
They do a good job, at least, of kind of, cleaning up all the edges and stuff of like, well, you can't just leave because we flew you in on you flew in or rode in on the boat rather.
Yeah. And they do that stuff. They have that really great moment where Anya Taylor-Joy turns around and watches them basically lock the door behind them. Mm-hmm. And it's already got your hackles up, like her hackles are up. And she watches the boat go away. It's just little moments like that where if this is made by a dumber filmmaker, and I know that we've been saying this a lot lately, if this was made by a dumber filmmaker, one of the wait staff would say something along the lines of, please make sure that door is locked, like something like that. Whereas these filmmakers expect you to understand this door is now locked.
Yeah, there's not too much ADR exposition, if you will. There's a little bit of it, but not nearly as much. They kind of want you to look at
this.
Oh yeah, for something like this, they should have a whole bunch more in there because audiences were dumb and they were like, "Listen, we're not shooting anything again." But in off camera, somebody's gonna be like, "Well, her name's Virginia" or whatever bullshit thing that you needed to drop in there.
Right. And please keep in mind, if you're listening to this, I hate all these characters. I hate them, with the exception of Anya Taylor-Joy, because you're supposed to like her, and she's just fine.
Yeah, but she is a little pain in the ass, though.
She is a pain in the ass, and she sucks. And if you did take her on a date, even if we weren't meaning to kill her, she would be a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
But like I don't even know who I hate the most in this film, but I know hands down who you hate the most.
Oh, I'm trying to think.
I already know who it is. Maybe you don't know who it is, but I know who know who it is.
You know who mine is? All right. Who's my hatred?
The food critics, yes man.
Oh yeah, well yeah, you're not wrong. I love those two. I love to hate those two. Like the sycophant who's just kind of like, oh, right. I am going to agree with everything you say, and like I have a bit of an opinion. Well, your opinion's slightly wrong. Well, no, of course, my opinion is actually what your opinion is. But
watching it the second time around, because I originally would have guessed it would be the food critic. Mm-hmm. because she is the worst. But even worse than her is the nipping dog at her heels. And
the guy who just wants any kind of like, he is the guy getting her scraps, which is a sad state of affairs here.
From the food critic.
Yeah, it's when you're the hanger on to the food critic, that's something else.
And I was kind of surprised on the go through of this, because I fully expected to have a very long conversation today with you about the lady food critic and how much you hate her. But then once that dude started really showing up, and he's hiding he's the only one who hides like a like a sycophantic dog in that chicken coop. And I'm like, even his escape is unmasculine. Adam hates this dude with a blinding passion.
I do love how he's hiding in the chicken coop, and his reward for being the last one found is a special little treat for him. And they give it to him through the hole of the chicken coop and then close the door back up so he can enjoy his food.
That is funny. That is a good thing.
I love that. It's like, hey, you were the last one to get caught. Here's a special little treat for you. We're just going to let you enjoy that, and then we'll bring you back when you're done. It's so good.
It is, man. There are a lot of nice touches. Like there are. And don't get me wrong, I do think the movie is imperfect. Like I know that I'm singing its praises, but there is one thing that I can't abide by. So they are in a working kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
They are cooking food all the time in this movie. So why are there all of those copper pans and pots hanging over their heads the entire movie, the kitchen staff?
Because it'll be empty if they take them down.
That's what I mean.
Frames not being filled up with stuff.
That's what I mean. If it's not going to be practical, then don't put it in the set. And so you have all of these people who need pans and pots on a constant basis. Everyone's on fire. Everyone's running around. And those copper pots are pristine and perfect, and it makes me crazy when I see stuff like that.
Yeah, if honestly, I think if most people saw the pots and pans and stuff that are actually in kitchens in restaurants, y'all probably wouldn't be going to. Now they're fine, they just don't look good. They're ugly and they're gross, right? Because they've been used forever.
They got bangs and dings and dents, and you want those bangs and dings and dents, because it means that the person knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Something's going to get smashed through a dish. It just happens. Things are going to get disgusting and like smashed up and everything. Someone's going to drop stuff.
Never trust a person who has perfect tools. Never.
So I liked, again, there were so many neat things kind of rewatching and stuff, because I think the first time, again, I think I had a little expectation problems, because I was waiting for the other shoe to drop on something wild and crazy to happen, and that what I was sold never really happened. So this time I'm listening through about more of the just the comparisons on art and how the food specifically in this case, but you can transfer food to any kind of art form and stuff like that. And I think this movie does have a lot to say for the act of art, the kind of consuming of it, the critique of it, the living through it, and doing something offensive like John Leguizamo's character, which I love that he's so petty of all the people that are in this room. It's like this woman has she's destroyed lives with her bad reviews and stuff. Things have happened. Like this guy is, he's just a rich asshole who just spreads his money around, doesn't give a damn about people. These guys embezzled money, but this guy made a movie I don't like. I'm gonna kill this guy because he made a movie that I thought sucked. But at the same time too, there is a great little bit in there, because if restaurant people and stuff, they don't have a lot of free time to themselves. So they do. It's like, hey, that 2 hours I had on my one day off, I wanted to get some joy out of my life, and I walked into this piece of garbage, and you ruined my one day. And he takes it out on him by killing him. I think that's what a great idea.
Well, this is kind of the voice of the movie here. What you're speaking to specifically, where they know. First of all, they want you to know. They know that this like high-end boutique, expensive, luxurious dining is bullshit. But so is all art. So like whether you're a chef, whether you're a painter, whether you're a director, whether you're a musician, it's all bullshit and it's all relative. And it all depends, like, we can across the board agree that Caravaggio probably painted the most realistic human beings during his era, because you can look at a person and then look at a Caravaggio painting and be like, oh, that's the same. Mm-hmm. But everything else is just up to you. And, Mona Lisa is a priceless work of art, but there's also other works of art that are as good as the Mona Lisa is. It's just that the Mona Lisa, once it got stolen, in the 19th century, and then they refound it, everybody was like, well, this is part of our combined cultural heritage. This is the most important painting on earth. Even though it's not, it is.
That Mona Lisa got a good press agent, man. That's all it is. That's all it is.
But that's kind of what it is.
Yeah,
that's kind of what it is. And so that's what this movie is trying to tell you, is that very thing. That like this food critic, it is disgusting how much power this woman has. But you know what else is disgusting is this movie star who pretends that he knows something about food and he literally knows nothing at all.
I love how practically every facet of him is fake and a lie.
It's so good.
Because like he starts out by saying like, oh yeah, me and the chef are buddies. We're good friends. Like no, and they most assuredly are not. He's got all these things. He wants everybody to know who he is, but he is long in the tooth for this. And the best part is his character doesn't even really, like, he knows he's kind of gone, but he doesn't know how bad gone he really is. Because he's at the end, like when he's talking to the guys and stuff, he talks about it with the ferociousness of somebody who's actually doing something. Where he goes, I'm transitioning over into the hosting phase of my career, which is a bullshit way of saying no one's hiring me for anything. So we obviously find out that he's going to be working on some Travel Channel-esque sort of thing, to which he doesn't even know what he's doing there.
And he doesn't even have it. Like he's pitching it after they eat dinner here. The next day, he's supposed to pitch to the Travel Channel his idea, and he doesn't even have an idea really.
No, it's just like, oh, I just go places and I eat things, and it's pretty rad and awesome. I'm gonna get an Emmy for this. Like what? Mm-hmm. But listen. Many of us have met people like that.
Yeah, man, I see them day to day.
They're all over the place, folks. But it is. I think he's actually kind of the perfect guy to really play this role.
He is, man. This might be his best role because it is so deep in the bench. Like he doesn't have to put this performance out in order for this character to work and give it the depth that he gives this character, but he totally does. And it's why I said at the beginning of the show, I think the people need to give him more of a chance because he is really good in this role. Very, very good.
The movie's not good, but he was good in The Happening. Like, as a guy who's, running away from the wind and everything and stuff like that. But like
that's not a movie that exists.
He feels like an actual like real father in that situation because he kind of plays it low and
I have wiped all memory of that. Mark Wahlberg playing a character. What are you talking about?
It's one of the best performances ever. You just shut your mouth right now.
Mark
it's so
Wahlberg
good.
Playing a character that the actual Mark Wahlberg would want to kick his ass.
I looked in the mirror this morning right when I was getting my makeup on. I want to beat that guy's ass.
I got to beat that guy's ass. And honestly, just the pitch. You pitched a movie studio. What if plants got angry with us?
You know,
It's the dumbest. It's the dumbest. It is so much hubris. It is so much hubris, that movie.
M. Night was just exploring the space at the moment. Just let him be. Just let him be.
You know, there's no wrong answers. This is a safe space. Yeah, okay. I want to get to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get back to Ralph Fiennes for a moment, if I can, if I'm not cutting you off talking about Leguizamo.
No. We'll get to Hong Chow soon enough.
Okay. So one of the things that I really enjoy about this is the Ralph Fiennes performance. Every time he's speaking to the people in the dining area, you know, the clap and everybody kind of
big
stands at attention. He's speaking to everyone in the dining area like he is a supervillain explaining how he's going to take over the world.
What I prepared for you this evening.
Yes. That is the energy he's bringing to those monologues. And every time I'm like, I don't know how he's pulling this off, but he's literally giving a supervillain monologue. It's just about the menu. And it is amazing. And then because he's doing such a great job, that one actress, that one woman that he hit on that stabs him with the scissors later, she gives the same style performance for her part of the meal. Yeah. It's amazing. It is amazing.
He's willing to just kind of, it sounds weird, but like just kind of stand there in a weird way. And you can just like, your eye is drawn to him. And he, like you said, there's a combination of everything about him. Like there's certainly a little bit of baggage that we bring with him from previous films that we've seen and whatnot. You got enough age, and he's got enough physical size and stuff too. He's bigger than most of the people that are there. You know, he's got that old man size. You know, like an old man that could punch you and it might hurt a little bit. He feels like one of those dudes. And yeah, it's just without this guy, everything else falls apart. For sure.
I totally think so. And the other thing too is that it seems like first of all, the people making this movie are very good at building tension. You know, and I know that that show on FX that everybody loves and calls a comedy, even though it's not funny, and it wins all the Emmys for funniest show on television.
It's Always Sunny, right?
No. No, the one that takes place in a restaurant, and it's on as like fourth season or whatever. And I refuse to watch it because it keeps getting classified as a comedy, even though there's not a single joke to be made in that show.
Tim Allen's no, wait, that's another show.
I can't remember. It's the guy who looks like Buster Keaton is the lead actor. It doesn't matter. So they do a very good job. The filmmakers do a very good job of building tension, but also so does Ralph Fiennes. Ralph Fiennes kind of understands what the filmmakers are going for. And so his performance it either goes lighter, like his voice gets lighter and lighter as the camera keeps moving in, or if it needs it, he starts yelling for people to look out the window, and he just knows the perfect moment to do that. And it's pretty amazing, the togetherness of actor and filmmakers on this.
I love how exacting he is on everything and stuff as well, how everything is, you know, kind of timed out to this certain thing. And, you know, obviously with like the guy being lowered down into the ocean there with his angel wings, which is like
so good.
More creepy the second time I've watched it. I was just like, I don't know why it seemed way worse this time, where I'm just like, oh, because at first I was just like, oh, are they going to drop him? I was like, no, it's worse than that. I feel like just dropping in, you know, would be one thing. Lowering you into it and just being like, yep, that's where you're going. That's terrifying.
Oof, so much worse. Yeah, now that you know that you're not watching the Terrifier, you're actually watching,
Yeah.
something different. Like you probably enjoyed it a lot more.
PG-13 plus is a lot better than expecting a Terrifier level sort of event to go on, because that certainly I was just like, man, motherfucker's gonna be eating people's faces in this movie. I'm sure of it. And then they're just like, a guy killed himself on some parchment paper. Okie doke.
Name of the show is The Bear.
There you go. That's one again. Part of me wants to watch it. Part of me doesn't, because like I've kind of worked in a kitchen, so like certain stuff will probably bother me. And then
sure,
listen. This is going to be an unpopular opinion, but Maddie Matheson bugs the shit out of me.
Who's that?
Big fat guy, a lot of tattoos. Looks a little bit like Bill the Thrill. Just imagine that kind of guy.
Oh, really?
Big fat guy. He's bigger than Bill by a landslide, but he's got that same sort of vibe where I've got a mustache and a shitload of tattoos, and I'm quirky as hell, and that's the thing. And I'm not saying the guy's not talented. I'm not saying that the guy can't cook, because I've seen some stuff. He's fine, but there's something about the vibe I don't dig. So I can't watch that show. I don't know why.
I just out of my own political views, I will never ever watch The Bear. How dare you call that a comedy? How dare you? It makes me so mad.
Yeah, everything that I've seen from it looks like the screamingness of a kitchen, which, by the way, kitchens can be quite funny.
Sure.
And that's another reason why I can't watch it, because it'll seem so serious. I'm like, kitchen I came from, like most of those guys were talking about anime half the night. We had a weird group, man. Hong Chau, the lady who plays kind of our maitre d' here and everything. Yep. This lady is great in everything she's in, and she's showing up in a whole bunch of stuff, lately and whatnot. I mean, everything from like your Watchmen to Poker Face and The Whale and whatnot. So she's just one of these actors. Oh, and Asteroid City. I forgot she was in that.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
But I don't know. She's just got she's got a great face, and I love all of her line deliveries and everything that she's in. She's just got an interesting presence to her.
I think that she is going to, because she always plays the angry Asian lady, right? She's always the angry Asian lady. And I think that she has been in her career is longer than you think it is.
Oh, yeah.
And I think it's going to be longer still, because she's just going to keep playing angry Asian ladies, and it's going to get better and better the older she gets. And so I think 30 years from now, she's going to have so many roles of angry Asian lady.
Oh, yeah.
That at some point they're going to do a switcheroo with her where they're like, what if we make her the likable Asian lady? Yeah, but that's far down the line.
Yeah, she's only mid-40s now, so she's gonna she's got at least another 15 years before they even switch her over to the lady that has this sort of thing.
Right.
And then like you said, then one more switch around of like, oh, now she's nice auntie now.
Right. And she has because she has the face of somebody who just seems very angry all the time.
But could also be very sweet, but could turn on you on a dime. That's the thing, I think.
Yes.
It's like, oh, yes, it's very nice. I'm going to kill you.
Yeah, she's 4 foot tall, and you're scared to death of her because that's just the type she is. And I think that is a wonderful place to be for her, especially that she's found it this early in her career.
Oh, yeah.
Because she's probably going to live to be 90, and she'll be playing this style role forever.
Get them money. Our old couple with Judith Light, who let's get those thoughts there.
First of all, Judith Light, she has maybe the worst agent in all of Hollywood.
One of them,
because every time I see her in something, I'm like, oh, she's amazing. She's really great in this.
She will pull up and give a performance every now and then, and you're just like, oh, you not just the lady from Who's the Boss. All right, cool.
Right. Like she's in an episode of the TV show Poker Face, which, by the way, if no one's seen it, that's a show that you totally need to watch. It's awesome. What if Columbo was a lady who can tell when people are lying? And
I know what you're doing, sir.
And it's funny and it's great. And the first episode is written and directed by Ryan Johnson, who, as you know, I am in the bag for.
What's this I hear?
Yeah. And Judith Light is in an episode of it. And she gives a performance, the likes of which you have never seen her do before. It's one of those speeds where you're like, Judith Light has this speed in her? I had no idea. And it is awesome. And so, and I already knew that I liked her because like she would show up randomly on like a show my mom would watch, like Law and Order or something. And you're like, oh, cool. So she's not just Angela from Who's the Boss. Like she can do something else. And it's a really, I think that she is such an underappreciated actress. I think that maybe she does a lot of stage and that's why we don't see her all the time. But even with that being said, lady, you need to fire your agent. You are far too good to be where you're at.
Looks like she's been doing a decent amount of TV.
Good.
Yeah.
She should be working all the time.
It looks like she's working pretty consistently, I would say. And we're all being nice, but for a woman her age, I think she's working real well right now, as a matter of fact.
She totally should.
Yeah.
She's also got that waspy thing but she's still a little endearing, which just doesn't happen that often.
And Ronnie Cox Light, he's really great. He looks just like Ronnie Cox, which is hilarious. But when you look at his IMDb, it's just like Ronnie Cox, and there's a zillion things that he's done as well.
And also the fact that this guy wasn't in the RoboCop reboot movie,
it's kind of
everyone
insane.
should be fired.
Yeah.
Everyone should be fired.
It makes no sense. But here's Ronnie's still alive though.
No, I know, but
Great. He's like 90.
He's alive like Gene Hackman was alive 3 months ago.
That's fair. That's fair enough.
Yeah.
So let's get to Nicholas Hoult because we really haven't focused too much.
First thing I want to talk about, if we can.
Mm-hmm.
First thing I want to talk about Nicholas Hoult. We have just piled on about how he has all these different speeds. He's always different people in every movie he's in, which he is. But I had never seen this until this movie where Nicholas Hoult and Ralph Fiennes are basically having a who has a better American accent off.
Yeah.
Because they're both doing genuine, honest to God, great American accents, but from different parts of the country. And I just was in awe, especially when they're speaking to each other. And I was just like, these two men don't sound anything like this when they're speaking in real life. How are they doing this? Because when you are speaking different American accents, you get in the way of each other too. It has to be that way.
Yeah, like you might pick up something that he's doing or vice versa.
Right. And they're not. And the fact that Nicholas Hoult is going toe-to-toe with Ralph Fiennes and it's the same, get the fuck out of here. It's amazing, man. I was so blown away by watching this movie again last night because maybe I was just in the perfect right mood for it. But I'd seen this before and thought, well, this movie is a good movie. I did not take away from it what I took away from it last night.
Yeah. Well, Anya Taylor-Joy, also not American.
Right.
Another one that you forget. Oh yeah, like she does those accents so often and so well that you forget.
I do.
Like, oh yeah, that's right. She's from there.
You caught me stone cold busted. I'm red-handed here because I did not remember that she was an American. So you are right.
It's nuts. But yeah, everybody is doing a really great job here. Nicholas Hoult, like his kind of like aloof, but also like super mad at everything that she's kind of doing wrong and stuff. The little kind of eye rolls and stuff where he's when he's eating or ignoring her or talking about very specific things and stuff. He has these very interesting mannerisms that are all just very smartly done for what that character would actually be. Yep. I love when, again, this is a great thing that like didn't hit me quite as much on the first time, but this time definitely did. Of this, this is a guy who seems to know it all, who has this passion for all of these things, but when the rubber hits the road, he doesn't know how to cook shit. So, we get up and embarrass him in front of everyone like this. And like, I thought that was just so great.
It is.
And everybody just stands and like, what an ultimate nightmare for anybody who doesn't know how to do something. But but even worse so, you're so excited and you're thrilled by this sort of thing that this should be something that you know how to do, and you don't know nothing.
You know, they also do the thing with this character too, where at the beginning, when people start getting knocked off and, you know, people get shot in the head and stuff like that, and Nicholas Hoult continues eating.
Mm-hmm.
At first, I was thinking to myself, that is too strong a choice. Like, this character wouldn't do this.
I feel like he'd look up and at least raise an eyebrow and go, that seems odd.
Right. Or like feign that he cares, you know, like even if he doesn't, like even sociopaths know, oh, I should probably look like I care here.
Yeah, you turn on that Dexter voice that goes, hey, do something that looks like humans do.
Exactly. And he's not doing any of that while all of those scenes are shaking out. But what you learn later on is that he knew from the damn beginning that they were going to kill everybody. And once you learn that and you're like, oh, he's literally doing this perfectly.
Yeah.
He's literally playing those scenes perfectly once you learn that.
You're right. And I think that was also, I think that clouded my first viewing a little bit as well. Those choices that you make. And then, of course, upon, you know, revelation there and everything, you go, oh, okay, I totally, you know, it does make sense. But I think I had that initial thought as well on the first viewing. It's just like, he's not even this a bridge too far, says I. But then once you figure it out, I was like, oh, okay. And then upon rewatching, you see them kind of setting everything up so much better. And speaking of like seeing things better, just as many characters, as many tables as we've got going on in this restaurant, in this story and everything, you never feel lost.
No.
You're always with everybody. They kind of, you know where the geometry of everything is, where everybody's sitting, you know. Very
good visual storytelling, I agree.
You get everything in there, and that's so helpful in a movie like this where you could get lost rather easily. But no, never once are you going like, where are we at? Who is this? What is this sort of thing? We get all of these characters established ahead of time, get the layout and everything, and we stick right to it. And it's really, and again, hearing like little small bits of conversation over at the other tables and stuff like that, just like little tiny things that continue on like this, and just, you know, watching Leguizamo in the background, you know, do his bit of acting and stuff like that. And you don't, because a lot of times in movies and stuff, you're not going to see those people. You know, it's just going to be like a close up of somebody and stuff like that. But here we'll have those moments where you can kind of see into the background and the other characters kind of still doing their stuff. It's good.
And there's also like the moment that I'm thinking about specifically to speak to what you just spoke to. Judith Light at the end of the movie, when Anya Taylor-Joy turns around to look at everybody as she's about to leave, and Judith Light gives her the okay,
just
like,
get out of here.
You need to go. Like that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. There's so much about that character that you have just learned in that moment about Judith Light's character, where she's like, one, doesn't blame her for being the prostitute to her husband. Mm. And two, that she wants to see her go. And like that there's an attitude of like, listen, if somebody can save themselves, they should. You know, and I don't think there's many people in that room who would feel the same way.
And in comparison and stuff to the rest of them, you know, she's more of an innocent, but just because like she, like again, the plan was for all these specific people to go in here to die. And that's when she's kind of that monkey wrench in there that goes, oh, you don't quite belong here. Who are you? The other person's supposed to be the one that goes.
You know, this is going to sound like heresy to you, but I just realized this while we've been sitting here breaking this movie down. Mm-hmm. This movie has the ability to be looked over the same way we look over John Carpenter's The Thing, where everybody's stuck in a place, everybody's got their own motivations, everybody is showing you speeds that you didn't know they had at the beginning of the movie. Mm. There isn't really a weak spot in this movie. Like performance wise, where you're just like, come on, man. You know, like there's people who are performing better than others for sure. But there's so many great performances here that I could see 30, 40 years from now, people breaking this thing down. Like people 40 years later breaking down John Carpenter's The Thing. I could totally see that.
Yeah. It's again, when we initially thought this, I was just like, oh, I've seen the movie before. I thought it was all right and everything. I did not too awful much to write home about. But this time, I think you may be right after having seen it this time, because it does lend itself to a little bit more dissection, I think, than you would have initially thought at first glance. Because like I said, I think it has a lot to say about art, about the criticism of art, our experience of art. So like you really, like I said, be it food or movies or, you name it. I think there's a lot of very interesting thoughts and stuff that you can, kind of explore while watching this movie. And, you talk about it later and everything, go like, oh, what about this? What about that? And like you said, the very much value that those things have, but also at the same time, the triviality of it all as well.
Right. And, the other thing about this movie too, is they need to start making more movies like this movie where it wasn't made for a lot of money.
Mm-mm.
We're probably in the under $30 million range to make this thing.
With this cast, I'd say so. That sounds about right.
And it is a clockwork perfect thing. Like you're not going to outdo the menu at being the menu. And it's just people who really know what they're doing. And if you like movies, there is a 95% chance you're going to like the menu. It is just one of those things. Like you, when I first saw this movie, I didn't dislike it. I was just like, oh, that's a pretty good movie. But on second rewatch of this thing, and you can see all the working things happening while you're watching it a second time, You're like, holy shit, this movie is a hell of a lot deeper than I thought the first time I watched it.
Yeah, much more appreciative of it the second go around for sure.
Right. Another thing I want to talk about here is that I have two beliefs coming away from this movie, watching it this second time. One is that I believe that Ralph Fiennes had to learn to actually cook to be this character in the movie. And you can tell just by the way that his hands are working with the food when it's the, like the two shot of him in the kitchen.
And you can tell Nicholas Hoult doesn't know what he's doing, or at least can certainly act like he doesn't know what he's doing, because I about fell out my damn skin watching that. I was like, no, what? Oh, you're cutting it into shallot? What is this? And Fiennes he comments on it. It's like, what is this mess?
It's so
I'm
good.
like, I feel the same way, dude. I'm jumping out of my skin going like, oh no.
And he also has an economy of movement also when he's doing the cooking, like somebody who's been doing it for a long time, which I think is excellent. They did a really great job teaching him how to do this, if he didn't already know already, because he's a wealthy man who has plenty of free time.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. And the second thing is that I noticed it this time, and only this time, just how much Anya Taylor-Joy is enjoying the shit out of that burger. That ain't acting.
Yeah.
She is enjoying the living shit out of that burger. And it's probably because it's the first time she's had a burger in her mouth in like 5 years from the time that they made this movie. Because that is not what an actor does when they bite into something and they really like it.
Yeah.
But like you can see the goosebumps on her flesh as she's eating it. Like, it's pretty amazing, the performance. If that is her acting, then she might be one of our finest actors. Like, move over Meryl Streep. Like, it is incredible watching her eat that in that scene.
I love the description.
Yeah.
Of the burger and everything. And it's just like where they describe that shitty burger that your parents just made for you.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I don't know I don't care who you are. If you're an American, like that whole everything comes rushing to you.
Yes.
And you just think about your family just making like shitty little hamburgers and like in your kitchen. Oh man. So what an amazingly awesome way to kind of just poke at those feelings and stuff. And so good. So good.
Just nailed it. And in two ways too. One, that even if you're not somebody who describes themselves as like, like a food snob or a foodie or whatever, even you have to admit that burger scene in that movie is one of the finest food moments you'll see in a movie. It's so good. Another thing I want to talk about here is more so than anything I've ever seen her in, Anya Taylor-Joy, she just looks like a beautiful alien lady.
Yeah, she's a beautiful fish alien lady. I love her. She's great.
She is so good, and she's like, and like, I didn't have a single issue with the character she's portraying in this movie. And I realized very recently too, like, oh, this is the same actress from Mad Max Furiosa. Like, this is the same actress, and these two performances are not even remotely close to each other.
And The Witch. You know,
And
throw that in there for your third little
right. That's the first place I ever saw her, was the Witch.
Yes.
Just a tremendous talent, and maybe somebody we should circle back around later.
Absolutely.
I would love to do an Anya Taylor-Joy month for sure. Another thing that I learned on this watch, produced by Will Ferrell and Adam McKay, this movie.
Good old Gary Sanchez, right up in this. Not them specifically, I'm sure.
The shockingest of shocking parts of this is that, you know, Adam McKay has a tendency when he's trying to make his movie that's saying something, it's just beating you over the head with a club. What he's trying to say.
What? Adam McKay not subtle? I like him. Don't get me wrong.
I did too. But okay, Adam, we get it, is something I say very often while watching an Adam McKay movie these days. Whereas this movie, it just sneaks up on you what it's trying to tell you. It's far sneakier and far better written than something that Adam McKay has his hands in. And so that's why I was kind of surprised to see their names at the end of the movie. It means they let the people just make their movie, which is amazing.
Would you like to take some money on this? Oh, I'd like to take some money on that. That sounds like a great idea. Put my name on that, will you?
And finally,
say it's for me.
and my final note here, it is a line of such brilliance and such understanding of how art works to someone who makes it. It is a just like an arrow right into your heart with a flaming arrow, and it hurts like hell when he says it. But turns out to all of the people in the dining area, and he says, "You represent the ruin of my art and my life." And it is such a hardcore line that when I heard him say it this time around, I hope it's a line that I never have to say. Like, I never want to have to say that line ever.
Well, you all know why I've gathered you here today. Not the thing you want to hear.
Right. But I mean, it is such a great, like, I wonder if they came up with the line when they came up with the plot of this, of the screenplay.
I think so. I wouldn't be surprised, because it is, like I said, it is all about kind of like these people. He's bringing them all there to kind of reap what they've sown. Right.
They've ruined him, so he'll ruin them.
Yeah. Well, if you had to recast this role here for Nicholas Hoult, who would you have if you had anybody?
Well, you know, I could see you could recast Nicholas Hoult with someone who's a little more of a sissy pants, even though I don't think he is as young as Nicholas Hoult. I kind of got to look it up. Oh man, I can't think of his name. Let me look for it. You give me yours.
It's a tough one. It's difficult to find out. There is so much though, and I can't remember exactly what's fueling it here, but like, I am looking in this kid's eyes and I'm seeing Tom Cruise every second.
Well, he does have he has a few Tom Cruise facial qualities to him for sure.
And he's got
that $1 million smile, mm-hmm. Like, you know, the bone structure is there. There's just something also not as ethnic as Tom Cruise is. I never thought I would say Tom Cruise is ethnic, but he is more ethnic than Nicholas Hoult is.
Mamma mia, my name is Tom Cruise. Here I am from
I just realized who I was thinking about. It's Jason Schwartzman could play this part. But it would be
yes. It'd be a different thing, but he could definitely pull this off. Yeah.
Be a hell of a lot greasier. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. Like he would definitely, you would probably sniff him out a little bit earlier
for sure
than you would a Nicholas Hoult, I think.
Yeah. And again, another guy who is a little too like old, but like think about like an early 2000s James Marsden could do it.
Yeah. No, I see where you're going.
Yeah, he could pull it off too.
I'll just say Skippy from Saved by the Bell, or from what do you call it? I screwed up my own
Family
joke.
Ties,
Family
buddy.
Ties.
Family Ties.
I think I was trying to choose which show I was going to go through in my head, and then I jumbled them up a little bit.
You know, that guy, if he would have done that role in the 90s instead of in the 80s, he would still have a functioning comedy career.
Oh, yeah.
But he didn't. He did it in the 80s.
You gotta pick them at the right time. Well, movies only come in two forms: art or fart. Where does the menu fall for you, sir?
Not only do I think it's art, it's my favorite kind of art where it's really fun to watch, and it rewards you for maybe not being smart. I think smart is the wrong word, for being clever. It rewards you for being clever, this movie. And you know, you pay attention to background stuff and what's happening around it, because it will reward you for doing that. It's, again, though, not exactly perfect. I said how much I hate the set dressing in that kitchen. I hate it. But it is a 95% like, this thing, it has legs. It's going to be around for a really long time. It just needs to find the right group of people.
Yeah, it's definitely an art for me as well. Definitely liked it more upon the second viewing and everything. There's meat on them bones. Surprisingly, I would not have guessed that kind of going in. Like I remembered everything about the movie, but I don't know that I remembered, you know, maybe the substance of it nearly as much. Because I wasn't looking for people's faces to get fried off or something.
You know what made me kind of like not look at it twice the first time is that it's too goddamn glossy. Like when you're looking at like the poster and the trailer for it, like they're trying to make it look like a super glossy, slick thing, and it's way more than that.
It's okay. It makes it look like it's Big Night, and this isn't Big Night.
Yes. You
know what I'm saying? Those ain't the same movies.
No, this is a far dirtier movie than Big Night, and that is to its credit.
Yeah, you wouldn't want that in this, or vice versa. So, but definitely art for me. Definitely fun this kind of second time around here, and glad I went back to it another one, because certainly worth it. I think if you've been in that boat as well, you may want to give that a second run, because I think this is where that's at. That is it for this episode, everybody. We round up our Nicholas Hoult here, but we've got a happy sad one coming up here for next month. He is gone from this world, but we are going to take the month of April to celebrate the life and times of one Gene Hackman. Just one of the best there ever was to do it. And I think we were even contemplating this at some point before the news had dropped and everything, because he is that kind of, he's one of those actors, and he's probably one of those, even after we do this, this Gene Hackman month here in April, good enough chance that we got plenty of Gene Hackman movies that we can go back for a volume 2 or 3 of this sucker as well, because
of course,
Gene Hackman has so many great flicks and stuff like that. So we're going to be exploring some of those. We're going to start out with one of his early ones with Francis Ford Coppola's The Conversation.
Been a minute since I've seen that bad boy.
I've recently bought it on 4K and everything, so very excited for this. It's out on I know it's on the Criterion Channel right now. Usually that also means if it's not like a super art housey thing, it's very often on HBO. Couldn't quite tell you that for sure this time, but it's very often a case. So check that kind of good stuff out. But the conversation is out there.
I mean, I would not mind buying that movie anyway. I love the conversation.
It's a good one. I don't think you'd want to pay what I paid. We'll talk about that next week.
Well, sir. We're getting into blank check territory with this because you with your 4Ks and him with his steel jackets that he likes, like it's kind of an insane thing. like you guys pay the most for movies I've ever heard of anyone paying for like physical media.
Ugh, we got problems. Listen, I think I've been good the last month, but I've also bought other things for the home theater, so it's like it almost doesn't count.
Sure,
because it's going into watching movies, not musical movies themselves, I suppose. So that's how you justify. It's like I didn't buy any movies. You bought all this other crap for it. Shut up. I'm having these conversations with myself, by the way. So yeah, we'll be checking out the conversation next week. So join us for that. Sean, plug something.
Sure. Why don't you go to our YouTube channel where there's a whole lot of people who check stuff out over there.
Heck yeah.
But if you haven't, you totally should. And you get to see what Adam looks like.
Which a lot of people are shocked about. You know what's funny? The popcorn video is actually done so well that it's reached people just very organically, right? Mm-hmm. And somebody goes, I clicked on the video and I heard this voice and I was like, hold on, wait a second. Didn't even realize that it was me or that they were clicking on something for the show or anything. Just clicked on that, heard a voice that goes, hey, wait a minute, that's Adam.
Wow.
That's a wild deal that when you're clicking on it and you hear a very familiar voice right there. And a lot of people go, didn't suspect mustache. And I'm like, didn't have one for well over 40 years. So
it's true, but it's been a welcome addition.
Yeah, we're rolling up on 2 years of the stash here at this point. Nice. And everything. So listen, I don't know what I'd be looking like without it. So it feels like now I'm a little bit scared to take it off. And I was like, oh, what's underneath there? Oh no,
looking a little mealy for the first week.
Yeah, exactly. Let's get out in the sun a little bit. And I'm getting out a little bit myself here, guys, because I'm going to be on the All American Spookshow podcast, friends of the show. And we're going to be covering Blade Runner over there. So check out that. I'll leave a link there in the show notes and everything for that. So check out All American Spook Show. It's going to be a blast, everybody. That will do it for this episode of HMP. Join us next week for the conversation. For Sweet Sean's and Kovacs from the internet, the absent Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Portress reminding you to be a dirty baby and leave a comment for your mom.